Welcome to PhotoVibrance. My name is Arthur Waino and I will be your guide today on this tutorial. Today we're going to focus on creating a video with PhotoVibrance of a face or faces. So let's go ahead and jump right into the software. Okay, great. Now that you have the software open, I'm going to assume that you already watched the basic tutorials. And if you haven't done that, you can just go ahead and click on this button right here and go ahead and go do that. So first thing that we want to do is we want to go ahead and search the stock images for a face, something that we could use to kind of animate with this software. So let's go ahead and click on search stock images. And when you jump in here, you might notice that it's a bunch of just random photos, which I've seen some of these already being animated, people popping them in the Facebook group. But let's go up here and type face and see what we get. Now, you guys might have seen me do this one. This is what we're actually going to be doing our tutorial on. But before I go ahead and select that, I wanted to go ahead and talk a little bit about what you're looking at, what type of photo that you want to select, the kind of things that I actually look for that could possibly be animated and be best suited for the software. So obviously this one is the one I used because it pops out, it's colorful. It has textures on there. You can see the little lines on her face. We can go ahead and take a look at a couple other examples in here on possible photos to select. There's a cat one in there. I don't know why the cat's face is in a face. Maybe I should have put human face in there. But this photo right here next to the colored one, it might be a little bit tough to animate something like this just because everything's pretty much washed out. You might be able to get away with doing her eyebrows, her eyes, maybe her hair, but this side of her face is kind of, I mean, you can't see her cheek line, and it blends in. Also, another reason why I wouldn't select this photo is that it is too close to the camera, and I like to use the zoom effect on these videos and place music behind them. Most of the videos that I'm going to be making are going to be square just because it's more universal. I only need to make one video to go ahead and post on Facebook, Instagram. I think even LinkedIn supports square video and YouTube does too as well. So it's pretty universal to use the square option. As you can see, when you pop in the square option, it zooms in on her face like that, but it doesn't leave me any room to do the zoom effect at the end that I like to do, unless you focus on her eyes and it's zooming in right there. But let's go ahead and go back and look at some of the other photos. You also don't want a photo with someone's face who are too far away. So like this one might be a little bit tough just because she's a bit far away. You're not going to really see the animation effect when a person is so far away and the landscape is, kind of blurred out. It isn't even crisp. Now, like I said, some of the things that I like to look for when I'm selecting a photo is things with texture, things with color, some interesting things. Because you got to remember, most of these videos are going to be going on social media. So you're trying to create something that is already good, but you're trying to animate it to make it better. And stop people from scrolling either on Facebook or Instagram and actually get them to read the post or whatever that this video is going to be about. Whether it's going to be a quote or a certain amount of text, like click here or click below, something like that. But let's go ahead and take a look at a couple more of these and then we'll just jump right into the tutorial. So when you look at some of these, like this lady right here, she might be a little bit tough to animate. You might be able to get away with doing her eyebrows, maybe the eyeshadow on her eyes. Makeup it will look great with using PhotoVibrance and animating her lips, maybe her hair. Since it's a white background, this photo would look good with masking out the white background and putting some like embers behind her or a different color maybe and some embers to really make this pop. But let's go ahead and go back and look at one more example before we jump into the tutorial. let's see. Look for some video, we'll look for a photo that really pops. I actually did one on this one because it was interesting. It's a mask with an eye, a lady standing there. It's something that would be interesting to go ahead and post on social media, but when you make it square, it kind of cuts off everything. So this one would actually be like a landscape one. You'd have to probably put bars on the top and bottom to make it square with whatever you want it to say. That would probably look good. But let's go ahead and go back and get started with this tutorial. All right, now we got the photo in on the canvas of PhotoVibrance. Let's go ahead and make it square. Make square, click next, and let's go ahead and start animating. That's what a lot of people think. They just want to come in here and start putting a bunch of arrows, anchors on places that they don't want to move. But what I like to do, since you're looking at this is a pretty intense photo. Her eyes are probably going to be the main focal point, her nose, and the lips. These are kind of the areas that you want to focus on when you're looking at the face. And then the outline of her hands. You don't want any of this stuff to move because otherwise it's going to look like a big blurry mess. So let's go ahead and start anchoring out, pretty much drawing with the anchors around the creases that we don't want to move. So I'm just going to go ahead and select a single anchor. And I'm just going to go around her eyes like this. I always like to start with the eyes first. I don't know why. And now let's go ahead and focus on her lips. So we're going to do the crease of her lips right in here, and then we'll work on the outer edge. Since her bottom lip, it's a little blurry right there already on the photo. We're going to kind of have to work on the anchors right here, just because I can foresee either the bottom blending in with the top or the top blending in with the bottom right here. Since it's part of the photo, we can't really help that, but we're going to see what we can do with it. Okay, now it looks pretty good. So let's go ahead and start animating this photo. So what I did when I originally created this was I had the arrow path going down and one's going up her hands and all around. So I'll go ahead and explain that, how I did that and what it actually looks like. So I wanted to first explain the arrows. Now I noticed that if you use a single arrow, a lot of you might be doing this, creating a picture like this, a PhotoVibrance video like this. If you notice, all the arrows are different lengths, and they're going to cause lines, because I think at the end of each of these arrows, what it does is it creates, I noticed that it creates like a little line on each of these, and that's definitely not what we want. We want it to be more uniform. So let's go ahead and get rid of those. Delete those. I instead use the path. I use the path especially when I'm going long distances. So I'm going from like the top of her forehead down to the tip of her nose, or right from her hands all the way up. And then on the small intricate details, I will go ahead and use the single arrow to go ahead and animate the parts that I need to move. So let's go ahead and start putting the arrow paths on her. Again, it doesn't need to be straight. I'm drawing with a mouse, but we can see what the end result looks like. Ooh, that went right over the anchor. So we'll have to definitely fix that one. now, let's fix that. Fix that. There we go. So let's go ahead and arrow path out. Now for the eyebrows, for these paths, I usually go with the direction of the photo. So for her eyebrows, I'm just tracing out her eyebrows like so. Trying to do it the best I can with a mouse. I know it's a little difficult at times. So going through the outline, just like that. And then for her forehead, I just continued with this arc kind of motion that I'm doing. So arcing it like that. And then followed her eyelid crease down there. Eyelid crease, and see how the arc is the same as these. So the direction of the movement is going to continue to go like that. Put another little one right there. And then if we need more movement in here, we can zoom in and do that with single arrows later. But now for her cheeks, we're just going to follow the arc that I already made. Go down like that. Perfect. Perfect. So let's go ahead and work on the hands. Now you'll notice that she has knuckles right here. So we're gonna have to kind of curve the path around to go just the same in the same direction that she's holding her hands on her face right here. So let's go ahead and we'll follow all the way around and all the way up. Let's go ahead and work on this knuckle right now. That looks good. Perfect. And again, it doesn't need to be perfect because we're doing so many of these paths. They will all kind of blend in together with each other. Yeah, we'll delete that one. That one's going over the anchor. Perfect. Let's go ahead and take a peek at what it looks like right now. Look at that. Almost looks like the original. Let's go ahead and keep animating. We're going to go ahead and work on her upper lip, lips, and the bottom here, and then we can go and tweak in all this stuff. See how it's creating a line right here? We'll go ahead and tweak that, get rid of that. Possibly go in and take care of all the detail stuff in a little bit. So for the lips, I originally did a circle, which was okay, but we're going to go ahead and just push the animation so it pushes down into her top lip, and then maybe we'll have the bottom one going like this, and then we'll put a little bit of animation into her lips as well. Okay. Perfect. Do a single arrow. Do these ones going down. Let's go ahead and take a look at what it looks like now. Okay, it's coming together. See right here where I had thought that it was blurry is going to be pulling. Kind of looks like it's pulling from the bottom up, blending into her bottom lip. We're going to go ahead and try and fix that. But first, let's try and anchor and get rid of that line that we were seeing right here. So for that, I'm going to use the path for the anchors. So I just go to anchors, path, and I'm going to do it off the canvas. In case any of these arrows are pulling from below it. Let's look at it now. There we go. No line. Line is gone. So let's go ahead and start working on her lip, that problem area that I had discussed before. Go ahead and pull those up, get them closer to that arrow. Maybe angle this one over a little bit. Let's look at it now. You can kind of see, stop the line right there. Put another arrow right in here. Make sure to anchor down these lips. All right, it's looking good. See when we zoom out? Perfect. It's looking good, looking good. All right, perfect. Let's go ahead and try and animate, put some animation into her eyes right here. Looks like I accidentally put an anchor spot right there, but that's okay. We can move it. Select anchors. I'm going to move it right into the center of her eye. And look at that, you can see the cameraman right in the reflection of her eyeball. And then we want to anchor out her eye. Put those right on the edge because we're going to animate this stuff inside of her eyes. Because when we do that zoom effect, it's really going to make these eyes pop and people will really focus on them. Let's go ahead and fix these. Perfect. So let's go ahead and start animating the eye. I'm just going to select a single arrow. You don't need a path for this because, like I said before, this is such a small area. We're only going to need maybe 2 or 3 arrows in here. Just one maybe pushing the animation of the color of her eyes down, one pushing it to the side, and then one back up. So it looks like her eyes, the color in her eyes are spinning. So I'll do one arrow down, one arrow up this way, and one arrow that way. Let's take a look at it. Hopefully it's not making it square. Let's see. Looks pretty good. Probably adjust those arrows so that it makes it look more rounded in there. Let me see here. Put that down more. Put this out more. That way it's not so close to the anchor. I can adjust this one. Okay, let's look at it now. That looks pretty good. Let's go ahead and work on the other eye. Put a few more anchors in there. Select a single arrow. And we're going to do 3 in here. And then we'll adjust them as needed. Let's go and play that. Let's take a look. That one actually looks pretty good. Not much moving of the arrows that we need, but we'll go ahead and see if we can get that closer out to the edge. That one down. Let's take a look. That looks pretty good. Okay. Now some of the things that I'm noticing that aren't moving, like I said, is maybe we can go in here and draw a few more paths closer to her eyes, because this stuff is all anchored in here. We don't have to worry about that moving. So I'm going to go ahead and try and do that right now. We'll see what it looks like. Let's play it. See, now her eyelid is moving. She looks pretty good. She looks pretty good. This looks pretty close to the original that I made already. The only other thing that I think that we could do to make this look better, you notice that it says speed right here. Most people probably leave this at whatever the default is right here on the setting. I noticed that when I play it faster, the animation plays faster, and it almost looks like her skin like gives like this glow type of a thing, and it actually looks like it's like real and moving. So I went ahead and I upped that, but just remember, when you do up the speed, you're going to have to make more loops. I like to make about a 30-second video because I'm going to play some music behind it, maybe possibly some text, but anything under 30 seconds will auto loop on Facebook anyway, so that will be good. Before I render this, just check. That looks good. Looks pretty good. Let's go ahead and we'll stop this and we'll go ahead and render it, and we will go ahead and start the zoom effect. You don't want to add the text in here. If you're adding a zoom effect where it's slowly zooming in on the face, you want to do that in an editing software like Premiere Pro or Create Studio, whichever you have. If you have Create Studio, I know a lot of you do, you can go ahead and throw it into Create Studio, add the text, the slow zoom, and the music all in one. You can do that right there in the same software. Let's go ahead and go do that, and I will see you right over there in 1 second. Okay, great. Now that we're in Create Studio, let's go ahead and open our video and put it out onto the Create Studio canvas. So we want to go ahead and create a new project. And since I made that square, let's go ahead and the height is 1080. I already know the width is 1080. Perfect. So let's go ahead and import our media. So bring it over to the canvas. So the first thing that we want to do is add the slow zoom. So all I did was go in here and under motion, click the out tab, click zoom. We want to scale up, and you notice that it puts here at the end. All I did to create the slow zoom throughout the whole entire video was I dragged that over. Now when you notice when you click play, it zooms in. It zooms in pretty fast. So by the end of the video, that's 30 seconds, we'll go ahead and shorten that up. But at the end of the video, it's going to be too close. So we want to go ahead and slow the zoom down. So all we do is go here and we click animation settings. We want to make this somewhere around 1.5. So we'll go ahead and make that 1.5. We'll take a look at it again. And look, you get that slow, buttery smooth zoom. When we get music on here, maybe some text, it'll look really good on social media. Let's go ahead and shorten this up so it's right under the 30 seconds. We'll make it about 29 seconds. Scale up. Perfect. Now all you need to do is add text and music, which is simple. Just click text. You can type whatever you want, your favorite quote, or you could write, welcome to, here's my first digital art. Let's make it all caps. Digital creation. Perfect. Go ahead and center that. Change the font. You can import fonts if you want, or you can select, they have a bunch of them in here. But ideally you want to select something that's not thin, something that's bold, that people will be able to read, something that will look good. So let's go ahead and select Carino, and let's make it bold. Perfect. And we'll just put that, in case we had any other imperfections that I missed, let's just put that down right there. Perfectly centered. Extend that out to the end of the video. Let's go ahead and add some music. So since I originally made this as a quote, I just went in here and I selected something that was like inspirational or cinematic. All we're going to do is drag the music over onto our canvas. It adds it to the bottom. We only need 30 seconds of it. So what we can do is go ahead and shorten the song up. And that's it, folks. Again, my name is Arthur Wainio, and until the next tutorial, I hope you enjoyed this and you create your own masterpiece face. Thank you.